lived in a home in the 2200 block of Pine Terrace Court. Michael was employed as an operations director for the Dixon division of Aimee Inc. And Jennifer was a stay-at-home mom, and she was described as a loving mother. She volunteered in her daughter's first grade class multiple times a week. She did jazzercise and used to go walking in the mall. She was the type of person who used to call her mom every single day, and she started Christmas shopping in early November. Good for her. I am so bad at that. And she went to church every Sunday with her husband and their 6-year-old daughter. Just after 4:30 p.m., this family takes a terrible turn. It's November 13th, 2001, and Mesa County deputies were dispatched to the Blagg home. Michael told the police that his 34-year-old wife Jennifer and 6-year-old daughter Abby had gone missing. He had last seen them around 6 a.m. that morning when he left for work. They were still sleeping when he left, and nothing had happened to them the night before. Abby had gone to bed at her normal time around 6. Jennifer had taken a phone call, and they had both gone to bed around 10. Michael told investigators that he had called home periodically that day to speak with Jennifer, but she didn't answer the phone. In fact, no one answered the phone. He was concerned by her absence in the late afternoon hours, but he really didn't believe anything was wrong. He just thought that maybe she wasn't home, but had not told him that she was planning on going anywhere. So Michael says he returned home at 4 p.m. and found the back door open. He decides to go inside to investigate, and at this time his worst fears are confirmed. He finds signs of a struggle, a large amount of blood on the mattress in the master bedroom, but no sign of his wife or young daughter. He calls the police at 4:20 p.m. I do have to wonder what took him so long, but maybe he was looking for them. And the residence was sealed off as a potential crime scene. Investigators located a strange pattern of blood found on the bed, and it trailed all the way to the family's minivan. Hey, stop that. Stop it. She's so itchy. I have been trying everything to make her feel better, poor little thing. Anyway, the trail of blood led to the minivan, which was still parked in the garage. A jewelry box had been knocked over with some money thrown on the floor. There were 2 pillows missing from the bed, and Jennifer's retainer was also gone. There was no trace of Abby. Her bed was unmade, and the clothes that she had laid out for school that morning were still there, untouched. Several experienced investigators said that their first impressions of this scene was staged, and several crime scene technicians also seemed to suggest this. There was no evidence of a struggle between killer and abductor, potential abductor, and the victims, but except for that jewelry box and the mysterious puddle of blood and the trail, investigators learned that an unidentified individual had called school and told them that Abby would be absent from class. Authorities went into high alert mode. They started investigating everything. They read Jennifer's journals, hoping that her private thoughts might tell them of her whereabouts. she couldn't take any more of this abuse and said that she had been the victim of domestic violence, and she wanted to speak with a lawyer. When she couldn't speak with one right away, she left pretty upset. Now, when we go back to Michael's computer, there was an email found on his hard drive that had been typed shortly before he discovered Jennifer and Abby were missing, and I'm going to include it here because I thought it was so weird. But it reads, "Jennifer, I love you. I am so sorry that we have ruined this day and the opportunity to spend our lunchtime together. I don't know what went wrong. My intent was to spend a wonderful time with you and coincidentally get some Christmas shopping done. That obviously went horribly astray. The Lord tells me not to let the sun go down on my anger, so I won't. You are the light of my life. I ask for your forgiveness of any wrongs I have done to you, and I forgive the wrongs I have perceived against me. I do not want us to waste a weekend being angry with each other. I would love to take some time today to talk through the problems we are having. I will send this as an email, and I will also bring it home to you. After Paul says, do not let the sun go down on our anger, he says, do not give the devil a foothold. I am sorry if I gave the devil a foothold. I love you." I don't know, it just seemed weird to me. So, deputies from the Mesa County Sheriff's Department, as they're investigating, get an anonymous tip he was usually rarely in that area. And another employee told the police that Michael had been seen pushing a pallet jack with 2 very large cardboard boxes. And this was towards the rear of the building where the trash compactor was located. When this employee offered to help, Michael said, "No, just get away," which was apparently really against his normal nature. According to police, a retired crime scene investigator said that he saw red flags just waving all around Michael Blagg, and that whoever was responsible for this disappearance really had a high level of comfort within this house. Michael moved out of this house in December of 2001. He said that it was difficult to remain in the home without his wife and daughter, which I totally understand, but he told the police that he had noticed a portion of Jennifer's jewelry had gone missing from the residence that day, but he didn't realize it until January of 2002, which was like 2 months after they went missing. So I don't know why it would take him that long, unless it was maybe the last thing on his mind. I don't know. Michael decided that he was going to suggest that Jennifer and Abby's disappearances were connected to a series of burglaries that occurred in the area in late 2001, which I guess could be an explanation. Maybe they didn't know they were home, but I don't really see burglars calling the school to tell them that the 6-year-old wasn't coming. I don't know. So, like I said, authorities are looking into Michael, and they place him under surveillance. A camera allegedly recorded him stealing a shredder and a table worth about $500 from his employer in January of 2002. He was called to the police station to be questioned about this in February, and the report for this says that Michael broke down sobbing when the investigators asked him to tell the truth about his wife. He lowers his head, his lips quivering, and he replies, "I can't." Investigators ask him, "Where are your wife and daughter's bodies?" And he says, "I really don't know." He manages to pull himself together and again denies knowing where Jennifer and Abby are. And then later on in this interview, he asks what the consequences were for different types of murders. After talking for a few more minutes, he resumes sobbing and puts his head down and asks the officers if he can just pray for a moment. After he prayed, he said he wanted to tell the truth, but he wanted to have a lawyer with him to tell him what the truth was going to mean for him. I can't believe this, but this interview ends and they let him go home. And the next day, he is found in his bathtub with his wrists slit. They find a suicide note, and he claims that he has nothing to do with his wife and daughter's disappearance. But wait, he lived. He was taken to the hospital in serious condition, stabilized, and released after 1 week. Michael's friends and family members really supported him after his wife and daughter vanished, but opinions over his possible connection to this case started to change after this. Michael's employment was terminated because he was, stealing things. they believe that Jennifer and Abby were the victims of foul play. Investigators stated that they believed that the family's maroon and gold 2000 Ford Windstar was involved in the disappearances. Investigators believe that the van had been used to transport Jennifer and Abby from the residence in November. The vehicle was parked inside the garage at the time they reported missing. Now, I don't know if they had two cars, if this was Jennifer's car and Michael had a different car, but I don't know. An anonymous female caller contacted authorities several times after Jennifer and Abby's disappearance. This woman claimed that she saw the minivan in an area near Park Ridge, Colorado, the day of their disappearances. Investigators asked the caller to contact them again with additional details during the spring of 2002, and she did. Authorities announced that they planned to search a 45-mile area near the Blagg's home in early April of 2002. Officials said that the search was limited to areas accessible by a two-wheel drive, low-clearance vehicle. The family's van matched this description, and the search lasted 12 days, but nothing was uncovered. Officials continued to search around Grand Junction for clues related to the Blagg's investigation during the early summer of 2002. Now, based on that eyewitness report of the employee saying that Michael had been near the trash compactor, investigators began searching the Mesa County landfill on May 13th of 2002. 2 days after this, Michael moved to Georgia. On the 17th day of the search, an investigator spotted a leg dangling from an excavator that was pulling trash from a hole. Digging ceased, and the next day, a woman's body was recovered. It had been wrapped in a tent and was in a portion of the landfill filled with trash that had been dumped by Aimee. There's an E in there. Aimee. Around the same time. Now this is where Michael works. It was around the same time that Jennifer and Abby went missing, according to paperwork and receipts that were found in this area. There was no evidence of Abby being in this landfill, and authorities are not certain if she will ever be found in the future. Michael was residing with his mother in Georgia at the time of the discovery. He was charged with first-degree murder in his wife's case the next day. He returned to Colorado to face these charges. Authorities concluded, after an autopsy, that Jennifer was killed by a gunshot to her left eye. Officials believe that she was murdered while she slept because her dental retainer was discovered with her remains, and she only wore this when she was sleeping. Investigators stated that they believe that he abused her and that her murder had been premeditated. They think that Abby was probably just a side victim in all of this. Trace amounts of Jennifer's blood were found on the exterior and was drunk. On April 16th, 2004, after 12 hours of jury deliberation, Michael Blagg was convicted of murdering his wife. He was sentenced to life in prison. This conviction was upheld during his first appeal in 2008. But Abby remains missing, and Michael has never been charged in connection with her disappearance. I fully don't believe that she's missing. I think that she is probably in that landfill with her mother, where her mother was. I find it really strange that they didn't find her. I'm sure that they probably doubled their search efforts once they found Jennifer's body. And I know you're like, well, they just found her leg. No, they did find the rest of her. Her leg had been removed by that excavator. She was all together before that, terribly. I do think it was premeditated. I think that he murdered her while she was sleeping based on the blood on the mattress and the retainer in her mouth. I don't have an explanation as to what happened to Abby. There was no DNA anywhere, which tells me that he didn't physically harm her with any type of wound or gun or anything. Thank goodness, because I can't think about that happening to a 6-year-old. But something obviously happened to her. He's clearly not living with her, squirreled away somewhere, because he's in jail. So, I wish that, because he still says he's innocent, he still says he had nothing to do with this, but I wish that he would, the dog is snoring, I wish that he would just tell people where she is. She deserves to be laid to rest near her mother. Now, that was a long time ago, and I don't think that she will ever be discovered in that landfill. First of all, 19 years. The idea of finding a skeleton in a landfill under 19 years worth of trash seems like a needle in a haystack to me, but I don't even know. I assume Jennifer's mother is still fighting for this little girl, trying to find her. I don't know. Incredibly sad. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're still listening, I hope that you are as excited as I am about Spooktober. There's gonna be true crime every week. Don't worry. But there will be other things happening on this channel that I've always wanted to do. And there will be some videos with Sean